In this live self-defense training workout and tutorial, you're gonna learn 5 elbow strikes to end the fight for self-defense. This is for self-defense. This is not for street fighting. It's not for bar fighting. It's not for a school fight. This is very dangerous, very vicious, very violent stuff that you will use, elbow strikes, to end the fight for self-defense, to protect your life, to protect the lives of somebody that you love. This is for self-defense only. We want to get that out right from the start. Now, the very first elbow, because we're going to get right into it, is one of my favorite techniques I call putting the helmet on. Putting the helmet on brings your hand up to your head, and it acts as a brace, and it blocks a lot of attacks, maybe slashing attacks with a knife or big swinging hard punches, coming in here and covering, basically covering. But you're not just covering, you're also entering with an elbow. And I like you to train yourself to come in with the strike when you have to for self-defense. The 5 elbow strikes to end the fight for self-defense starts with this forward motion, elbow strike. You're turning your shoulders and hips. That's always the best way to generate the most power. As you're bringing this elbow forward, you're striking into the chin, into the throat, into the solar plexus for self-defense. Hello, Linda. Linda's in Denver. Now from here, I bring this in here. I'm laughing, Linda, because someone told me recently, stop acknowledging everybody who makes a comment in the chat. I'm gonna do it anyway, right? It's my video. I appreciate you being here so much that I wanna say hi. Hi, Doug. Doug's here. So from here, when your hands are up and open, you put your hands up between you and the threat. This is a great position to be in. This is the worst position you could be in. This is even worse. You want to immediately, when you know that there's a threat, get your hands up and open. It's called the flinch block. Put it between you and the threat. And we're going to enter with elbow strike number 1 of the 5 elbow strikes to stop the fight immediately for self-defense. You're going to bring this elbow in, and again, you're pushing, your shoulders are turning, all your body weight's coming forward. You need 3 things to knock somebody out for self-defense. Number 1 is full extension. Number 2 is rotation or turning of the shoulders and hips. And number 3 is accelerating those 2 motions with a step of the body. So if he comes in, it's a violent, vicious attack. You're trying to defend yourself, step in and practice this over and over. Practice this motion first. Just coming forward, turning. You can see, if you don't have a bag to hit, don't hit a bag. Hello, it's good to see you, Daniel. Daniel's here. If you don't have a bag, don't hit the bag. You can practice hitting your own hand. You can even practice striking in the air. You will feel whether or not you're turning. You can use a mirror. You can set your camera up and watch yourself, but turn those shoulders and hips. Get that helmet on. When someone comes in and hits you in the head, they can control your head and put you on the ground. You're in big trouble. If you get your hand up here, all of a sudden, now it's like you have a brace here and it's absorbing a lot of that impact. You're not gonna get knocked out as easily. And if they have a bladed weapon, they might slice this up a little bit, but that's not as bad as slicing this up. Getting in there or slicing even worse into your neck, into your face, into your eye, your ear, you lose all that. Instead, you're gonna get your helmet on. So you're practicing coming forward. Hello, Tim, it's good to see you. I'm coming forward here with one and the other one. Just leaning into it, closing that distance, close with and destroy, violence of action. We wanna come in. Hello, both Patricks are here. I'm coming in 1 and I'm coming in 2. Just practice. That's the first elbow of the 5 elbow strikes that you need to end the fight for self-defense. Number 2 is going to be a turning motion of your shoulders and hips to generate that power and also moving forward. This is very important. A lot of people do this elbow strike this way, and if you watch what happens in the bag, I'm just barely grazing the surface. It's gonna rub the skin off of your elbow. If you do it on the bag like this, that's a good way to know that you're doing it wrong. Instead, you're gonna come forward. As you turn, you're turning your body in, and see how your hand is here? It's touching the chest. You're bringing it in as close as you can. Your palm is facing the ground. It's parallel to the ground. That puts this big bone here. It's really not just the tip of the elbow. If you're doing Muay Thai or if you're doing Thai boxing, you might want to cut with that elbow. We're not worried about cutting. Hello, it's good to see you, Steven. Fernando's here. Thank you, Fernando, thanks for being here. But you're bringing this in and forward, and it's okay if anywhere along this bone strikes against his jaw, his temple, his neck, because this is for self-defense. I'm not trying to score points. I'm not trying to get the referee to jump in and end the fight because there's too much blood coming out. So I'm not worried about cutting my partner, my opponent. And it's not an opponent. It's a bad guy. It's a weirdo. It's a stranger. Now, let me say something about that real quick, because This is also a frequent comment that you've been telling me recently, some of you anyway, that it's not going to work against fill in the blank, right? If you come up against the jiu-jitsu black belt, this stuff isn't going to work. Why are you fighting? Yes, you're right. If Brock Lesnar comes in and you get in a fight with Brock Lesnar and he's carrying a knife, none of this stuff works. Yes, you're right. It doesn't work against Brock Lesnar. It doesn't work against any of the Gracie clan, right? It's not going to work against any of these people. I was watching one of my favorite guys to watch, Jocko Willink, the other day, and he was saying that everybody in San Diego, I'm going to San Diego for Thanksgiving, everybody in San Diego practices jiu-jitsu. So if you get in a fight in San Diego, you're fighting somebody who's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Now, I don't know if he was exaggerating or not, or he was just commenting on the fact that it seems like jiu-jitsu schools pop up everywhere. They're popping up around here too, which is great. I love it. We got to get more kids in martial arts. Jiu-jitsu is one of the best you can do. And at the same time, we're not talking about a street beef or road rage, or, well, maybe road rage, but we're not talking about an avoidable fight where you can get your ego out of the way and say, you know what, we shouldn't be fighting. You know, I'm sorry that you, I'm talking about the punks, the weirdos, the criminals, the mentally insane who are out roaming the streets in some cities right now who might become a threat to you, right? I'm talking about those random violent acts done by criminals. I'm not talking about a seasoned MMA fighter. Yeah, you're right. A lot of these are going to be hard for you to execute if you're 73 years old and you go up against a 19-year-old Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt who's fought for 2 years in the octagon. Yeah, or you fight Brock Lesnar or Bas Rutten, right? For some reason you got in a beef with Bas and you got to fight him. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about that punk, multiple attackers, somebody pulls out a knife, the criminals who are intimidating and hurting people and being able to feel like you can defend yourself. I know you can. You will when you put the helmet on. And then number two, you have this turning strike. Now remember, it's turning here and it's also moving forward as you're doing this turning motion. These vertical elbow strikes, and make sure you follow through. My face is here, the bad guy's face is here. Don't stop here, stop here when you've gone through your target. So practice striking and following through all the way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Sean says it's not going to work on Bas. We're not fighting Bas. I'm not fighting Bas. I don't know what I did wrong, but I'm going to apologize as humbly as I can and say, you know what, it must have been me. All right, yeah, self-defense. Thank you. Daniel says self-defense are the key words here. This is self-defense. So number one, put your helmet on. This vertical coming straight up and in. It can also go into the stomach, come up into the solar plexus, up into the chin. You can bring your helmet on and hit with the tip of your elbow. That's all correct. Number two, striking with those elbows. Put them together, make it a combo. 1, 2. Practice 1, 2. Always practice in combination, and then go on to number 3. Number 3 is one of my favorite of all time. You're going to put your thumb here. You're going to make a chicken wing. You're going to bring it from here and down. It's going to come down at an angle, just like you're chopping down a tree with your hatchet. And you're going to feel when you practice this, it hits very hard. So you pop this up and drive it down. Pop this up and drive it down. Notice the turn of your shoulders and hips. That's where all your power is coming from. So number 3, bring it up here and bring it down. It's one of those things where it catches a lot of people off guard, which is why it's so effective. But the reason it's mostly effective is because it takes all of your body weight into that strike, coming down at the angle. Number 4, I want to bring it up and down on top. You can imagine that you're going to fly up and smash it down, or just lift it a little bit higher, especially if someone's getting in there and their hands are on top of you. You can lift your hand up. This is very hard to stop, and then bring it down. Bring it down on an arm. You know, maybe he's got you here. Bring it down into his chin. Bring it down and rake it right along the bridge of his nose, or into the top of his head, or onto his forehead, right? Or into the clavicle. Break that clavicle. It's as simple as putting your hands straight up and pulling down. Notice you're still turning your shoulders and hips. As you come in, practice with both hands. Put them all together. Lydia says, thank you for the self-defense tips. Thank you, Lydia, for being here. So start with, put your helmet on. Do a horizontal strike. do that downward angle strike, and then practice bringing this up and down, just so you can practice those in combination. That might not be the way that they would go down when you really need it, but you will be able to practice a little bit better, work on your flow, and then change the order, right? Start here, come to here, bring it down here, and put your helmet on. I had to remember what the first one was. Now, number 5, because this is 5 elbow strikes to end the fight for self-defense. Self-defense is the key word. Daniel said it earlier. This is also one of my favorites because it has so much power, and I'm going to tell you why. It's because of what you have naturally. The weight of your body. Every one of these is working off the principle, not that your arms are stronger than his arms, because they probably won't be, but your body, whatever you weigh 110 pounds, 200 pounds, 250 pounds, whatever you weigh is coming into that strike, and it's accelerated, and so you're creating power. Power is so much more important than strength alone. So however strong you are, that's great. But when you put that into motion with 3 things to knock them out for self-defense, which is extension, and in this case, we're extending the elbow. Number 2, rotation of your shoulders and hips. You've got these big core muscles in the front and the back, supported by those legs, that rotation, and then acceleration, moving forward, generating maximum power to stop the fight. Violence of action, close with and destroy. The last elbow is coming from behind. Now, here's a quick visualization. I want you to visualize, because I don't have anybody here. T. Anthony says, thank you, T. Anthony. His hands are on your neck, and you turn into him, because you want to turn and face the fight. That's one of my principles of self-defense. Turn and face him. If you're on the ground, turn and face him. Always turn into and address what's happening. His hands are here, and he's squeezing just the life out of you. You've got seconds to get out of that before he crushes that windpipe, right? If you turn this way, you're going to make it easier for him. He's just going to wrench your neck. That hurts. Thank you, Gregory. Thanks for being here. If instead you lift your elbow just a little bit above his hands, which are on your neck, and you turn, and I want you to practice this with somebody. Have them put their hands, go slowly so that you don't accidentally knock them out or break their jaw, knock some teeth out of his face. But you lift your elbow above the hands and turn this way. That leverage that you create by lifting your elbow higher than his hands, which are on your neck, will break anybody's grip. Yes, even Brock Lesnar, Boss rooting those big meat hooks. Jocko Willink himself, if he comes up and he's grabbing me from behind, if he's grabbing me from behind, I'm in big trouble, right? But anybody with that kind of wicked strength in their hands, if you get that elbow and you turn, they can't stop it. Because the leverage that you create, and then when you step into it, you can now extend that elbow into the side of his head, the temple, the jaw, into the neck for self-defense. You'll knock him out. Or if he's too far away, you can extend and turn this elbow into kind of a hammer strike. Just extending. Make that tight. When you turn, smashing really hard. So practice. Someone's behind you, you've got to turn your head first. The head leads the body, right? Don't turn your head and your body at the same time. Ultra says, good advice. Thank you, Ultra. I'm going to look away. But see, I can see you in the mirror. From here, bring this up and step. But your head has to turn first. Turn your head and then go. Go into it. Go into the attack, right? Lift and turn. Lift and turn. If his hands aren't on your neck, maybe he's got the bear hug. You drop your body a little bit, make it hard for him to hold you, and then drive that elbow down and back. So you're either coming up and over into his head if his hands are on your neck, or you can drive down and into the body. You can do both. You can smash him here and then smash him here. There are so many examples of mixed martial arts, MMA, Ultimate Fighting Championships, UFC, right? I forgot the UFC. Where a spinning elbow breaks a jaw or cuts the face or smashes in the temple and knocks somebody out. This will knock most people out if you connect on it. And the way that you connect on it is you look and you only get to see it out of one eye. This is the key. Everybody makes the mistake trying to see with both eyes and you overturn. You won't be able to turn that far. So from here, all you need is the corner of your eye, and then step in and stick that elbow right into the jaw, into the temple for self-defense. So that's number 5. Quick review. Number 1, hello, Pete. Pete, if I'm ever attacked, I want to be with you too. I want you to be with me. My wingman. Number 1, put the helmet on. Number 2, horizontal elbow strike. Number 3, lift it up bring it down like a chicken wing, right? A chicken wing that smacks the teeth right out of his face for self-defense. Number 4, oh, what was number 4? I got all excited thinking about his teeth, like in a Rocky movie, going spit coming out of his mouth. But for self-defense, right? So number 1, put the helmet on. Number 2, vertical. Number 3, down here. Oh, number 4, one of my favorites. It's, the old movie with Sylvester Stallone, Over the Top. He's driving the big rig and he's practicing his arm wrestling, and the car goes by and the kids are doing this in the car, and he reaches up and pulls that chain. That's what you have, smashing that down on top of his head. Bring it in. It's extreme because your whole body weight is coming down, and you're bringing that elbow, one of the hardest parts of your body, into the soft tissue of his face, or into his throat, or into the top part of his chest, or into that clavicle, or maybe his arms are on you, and you smash it down. And then finally, number 5 of the 5 elbow strikes to stop the fight for self-defense. Turn your head, smash up or down, and then up, or turn it into that hard smashing back fist. One of my favorite kinds of strikes are pulling strikes. And there's a little bit of debate going on. What's stronger, a pushing strike or a pulling strike? I'm gonna go with pulling strike, and I'm probably wrong, but I'm never in doubt, right? That just means that I only know what I know, right? And I learn from you all the time. So in the comment section below, this is how we grow as a team, as a virtual dojo, as training partners. Put in the comment section, not just the chat, please, but in the comment section, put in which of the 5 elbows are your favorite, or what technique could we add to that and replace. Take out this elbow, what elbow do you want to put in? Put in a different elbow or a different strike altogether. Unless it's like my 38, 22, 45, this and that and other thing. Because yes, obviously, if that's an option for self-defense and it's life or death, that's superior. The guys always love to say, well, because I teach with the stick, right? You're gonna use the stick. You can't beat this with the stick. That's like the whole Boss Root and Brock Lesnar argument. That's not what we're saying. We're saying have multiple tools for self-defense. What happens if this jams, you don't know how to clear it, or you don't even have this with you because you're in a non-permissive environment? You went to the football game and they checked your bag and they took your stuff, or you're in the airport, or wherever, it doesn't matter. You need, or you run out, whatever it is, or you can't get to it because he took it away from you because you're not as fast as you used to be. You're gonna have to put on those elbows, smash, and then I teach, that's one of the things I love to teach, which is called weapon retention. Weapon retention for law enforcement, weapon retention for people who do CCW when it's important to you. So put in the comment section below, unless it's, or you know what, if you want to put in one of those smart aleck comments, go for it, I don't care. I respond to every single one when I get the time. You guys have been awesome. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.